Welcome all. I am G.Saraswathi, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Sita Lakshmi Ramaswamy College, Tiruchirappalli. I am going to discuss about soaps and detergents in this session. Let me list out the contents which we are going to discuss in this session. First, we'll discuss about soaps, its definition, saponification process, manufacture of soap, and cleansing action. Next, we'll discuss about the definition of detergents and advantages of detergents. Finally, we'll see about the comparison of soaps and detergents. First, we'll discuss about the soaps. Soaps are sodium or potassium salts of long-chain carboxylic acids. These long-chain carboxylic acids are called as fatty acids. They contain about 12 to 18 carbon atoms in the hydrocarbon chain. Soap is a salt of strong base, usually sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, and a weak acid like carboxylic acid. Hence, a solution of soap in water is basic in nature. Potassium soaps are softer than sodium soaps, and hence they are used for special purposes like shaving creams and liquid soaps. Some of the examples of soap include sodium oleate, sodium palmitate, and sodium stearate. This is the structure of sodium stearate, which do not have any unsaturation in the hydrocarbon chain. They have the molecular formula C17H35COONA. This is the structure of sodium oleate, which has unsaturation in the hydrocarbon chain with the molecular formula C17H33COONA. Next, we'll see about the saponification. Saponification is a process of making soap from the vegetable oil or animal fat using a base. Vegetable oil or animal fat is the raw material for making soap. These oils or animal fat is nothing but they are glyceride esters or triglycerides of higher fatty acids. These fat on hydrolysis with base like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide gives glycerol and a crude soap, that is sodium salt of higher fatty acids. Next, we'll see about the manufacture of soap. The manufacture of soap can be done by many processes like hot process, cold process, and modern process. Now we'll see about the hot process. This hot process involves 3 steps, namely saponification, salting out of soap, and finishing. First step is saponification. As already mentioned, the oil or fat is taken in a giant iron pan, which is called as soap kettle, and it is heated with open steam. Now, the alkali solution, that is 10% caustic solution, which is otherwise called as lye, is added in a thin stream, and the steam keeps the mass boiling and also ensures the thorough mixing. After several hours, the saponification is complete and a frothy mixture of sodium salt, that is soap, and glycerin is obtained. Next, the second step is the salting out of soap. This step involves the separation of soap and glycerol. For this purpose, we have to add a common salt or brine in order to precipitate the soap, and the heating is continued. After some hours, the soap will be formed in the upper layer as a thick mass, and this process we call it as salting out of soap. The lower layer containing glycerol and the unused alkali, which is otherwise called as spent lye, is drawn from below. The last step is finishing process. Here, the soap so obtained in the previous step is boiled again with caustic soda for complete saponification. The solid soap is again boiled with water in order to dissolve the excess of alkali, and it is allowed to settle down. In this stage, the impure soap called niger will be formed in the lower layer, and the pure soap will be in the upper layer. The pure soap is passed through a swing pipe into a steam jacketed tank called as crusher, where the drying will take place. In this stage, it is shredded into small chips and it is dried to a requisite moisture, and it has to be mixed with coloring matter and perfumes. It is then run into molds of suitable shape and size, and it is allowed to solidify. Then the bigger blocks are cut into smaller pieces with the steel wire cutters, and finally it is stamped and marketed. Next, we'll see about the cleansing action of soap. How does the soap removes our dirt from the cloth? A soap has two dissimilar ends. One is the carboxylate end, which is polar in nature, and it is called as hydrophilic end. It is represented as the head part. The other is the hydrocarbon chain, which is non-polar in nature, and it is called as hydrophobic end. It is represented as the tail portion. Our dirt is non-polar in nature and it will not interact with the water, and it does not get removed if we simply wash it with water. Our soap, since it has two ends, both polar end as well as non-polar end, it acts as a mediator between the dirt and the water and helps in the removal of the dirt. When a soap is dissolved in water, the molecules of soap will orient in such a way that the hydrophobic ends will be directed away from the water and the hydrophilic end will be directed towards the water. We'll have orientation of soap molecules like this if we make the soap dissolve in water. Next, when we dip the dirty cloth in soap, what happens is that the soap molecules will surround the dirt like in such a way that the hydrophilic end will be directed towards the water and hydrophobic end towards the dirt, and we'll get a missile formation. This missile is soluble in water, and thus the dirt has become soluble due to this missile formation. Now if we simply rub it with the hands, it gets removed. Next, we'll see about the detergents. Detergents are sodium salts of long chain benzene sulfonic acids or sodium salts of long chain alkyl hydrogen sulfate. Detergent has a large hydrocarbon chain which is non-ionic and sulfonate or sulfate which is ionic. Next, we'll see about the advantages of detergents over soap. Detergents are similar to soap, but they are more soluble in hot water. This is because the hot water contains ions like calcium and magnesium. The carboxylates present in the soap can bind with calcium and magnesium ions in hot water to form an insoluble precipitate which is called as scum. This scum formation decreases the efficiency of soaps. But the sulfonate present in the detergent is less likely than the polar carboxylate present in soap to bind with calcium and other ions found in hot water, and hence these detergents do not form scum. Hence, the detergents are effective in cleaning than the soaps. Finally, we'll see the comparison of soaps and detergents. First is coming to the sources. Soaps are made from natural sources like vegetable oil or animal fat, whereas detergents are made from synthetic sources such as petroleum fractions. In soft and hot water, what happens is soap will form an insoluble precipitate known as scum, and this causes the wastage of soap and the efficiency of the soap will also less. Whereas the detergents forms soluble substances in hot water with calcium and magnesium, and they do not form any scum, and hence the efficiency of detergent is more. Then environmental fact, soap is biodegradable and do not pollute the environment, whereas the detergents is non-biodegradable and it gives thick foam that kills the aquatic lives. Hope you would have learned the chemistry behind the soaps and detergents in this session. Thank you.